We start, though, with President Trump hosting his newly inaugurated Polish counterpart at the White House today. The two are discussing several issues, including the next steps for the war in Ukraine and the possibility of a summit between Presidents Putin and Zelensky. Now, while those talks were underway, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein were speaking on Capitol Hill, calling for more transparency and the full release of files related to his case. President Trump addressed those efforts from the Oval Office.
This is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president.
But first, let's bring in CBS News chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes. And Nancy, thanks for being with us today. The president there discussing a slew of issues in that meeting, including yesterday's strike on a boat that he says was carrying drugs to the U.S. from Venezuela. So what more are we learning about that operation and who was targeted?
Well, according to the president, there were 11 people on board who he described as narco-terrorists, cartel members from Venezuela who are part of a gang that has been designated by the Trump administration as a foreign terrorist organization. This boat was headed from Venezuela through the Caribbean, and White House officials say its eventual destination was likely the United States. It was struck by some kind of U.S. aircraft. All 11 people on board perished, and this morning, the defense secretary warned that the U.S. will carry out strikes like this again if Venezuela continues to send narcotics to the U.S.
And Nancy, President Trump also doubled down yet again on his plans to send federal troops to Chicago in order to combat crime. But now he's also saying New Orleans is on his radar as well. However, similar to the situation in D.C., as you well know, recently released data out of Chicago shows violent crime is actually down over 21% from this time last year, with the number of homicides declining more than 30% through July. So given all that, how is the White House justifying sending troops to that city at this point in time?
As you say, Nancy, the crime rate, violent crime rate has come down, but still Chicago's an enormous city. And so in absolute numbers, you still see more murders there than in most cities in the country. And that seems to be what the president is very focused on. In the Oval Office yesterday, he rattled off crime statistics from this past weekend. 9 people killed, nearly 60 people shot. He says that Chicago is a hellhole, in his words. Baltimore, in his words, is a hellhole. And so he believes that it is important to send in the National Guard to try to turn things around, as he sees it, in Chicago, the same way that he has seen some success here in Washington, D.C., with a temporary drop in violent crime. Now, New Orleans is a different story. He says that in Louisiana, as opposed to Illinois and Maryland, the governor is actually inviting him in. It's a Republican governor who has, the president says, has urged Trump to send the National Guard to New Orleans. The New Orleans mayor may not feel the same way, but President Trump said he may actually send the National Guard to Louisiana before he deploys them to Chicago, because in that case, he is being welcomed by the governor, which would be much less of a headache and probably less of a legal fight as well.
Absolutely. Nancy Cordes, thanks so much for being with us.
You're welcome.